interview that raised a lot of eyebrows fast. A former Bethesda developer, Kirk Clemens, sat down with Samuel, and what he said has people reading between the lines because this wasn't just nostalgia or old story. It was frustration. It was honesty. And it sounded like someone who's watched industry slow itself down. Comments about development timelines, expectations, and creative limits are now fueling new questions, especially over Elder Scrolls 6 still missing in action. So the real story isn't the interview itself, it's why these comments are landing right now and why fans are connecting the dots. So let's break it down.
Are you not entertained?
All right, this is why the interview stuck with people. When Kurt talks about game development, he's not speculating. He's describing how Bethesda used to work. Smaller team, clear creative direction, faster iteration, fewer layers of approval. Now compare that to today, massive studio, corporate oversight, game plan years in advance to hit financial targets, not creative milestones. So when Kurt hints at how development has slowed and creativity gets boxed in, fans immediately think of one game, Elder Scrolls 6, baby. Because this isn't just about how long it's taking, it's about why it's taking so long. The industry's changed, expectations have exploded, budgets have ballooned. The studio, in a studio like Bethesda Game Studios, God, that was a tongue twister, are now building games to have to justify massive investments, subscriptions, and platform strategies. And that's why the timing of this interview matters. It lands in a moment where fans are already fucking frustrated, already waiting, already wondering if the magic that made classic Bethesda games special can survive modern development. The takeaway isn't Bethesda is doomed. It's that the way games are made today may be the real reason everything feels slower, safer, and more cautious. And if that's true, Elder Scrolls 6 isn't just delayed. It is being built under a completely different psychology than the games that made fans fall in love in the first place. So, hit the comments down below. Did Bethesda lose what made it special? Or are fans just impatient? And I'm going to go ahead and already answer that for my cousin. Bethesda been lost what made it special long fucking time ago. But Infamous, after hearing this and reading the article, what do you have to say about some of the things that Kurt talked about?
You ain't lying, and he ain't lying.
Whoa. I love when people say I'm right.
And it's really sad because I'm just gonna come out and say it. You ain't really seen shit from Bethesda since Skyrim. Skyrim bloated their heads to immense proportions that they just feel like, we're the kings of these type of games. People love us, and we can do no wrong. But it's like they should have got a wake up call in 2015. That is when Fallout 4 came out and when The Witcher 3 came out, and it was the first time a Todd Howard game did not win Game of the Year. That right there should have been the wake-up call. That right there they should have went back to the drum board and been like, but instead they just like, they don't know what the fuck they talking about. They don't know what they want. And they just doubled down on their own bullshit. They just continuously ported Skyrim everywhere. But this is also the consumer's fault as well, because fucking the consumers kept buying it and still fucking buy it. But they really did not need a live service game. Fallout 76, even though I play it now and am enjoying it after years of having the course correct, they did not need it. Elder Scrolls 6 will be it won't live up to its potential. It's another game that has taken well too fucking long to come out. There are people there are kids who weren't born or just was born when Skyrim came out, and now they're almost teenagers in a sense. And to me, I believe they've lost the scope of their original dream. You've heard interviews of Bethesda talking about how when they were making Elder Scrolls 3, they were going all in because they're about to be closed. They were like on the verge of bankruptcy. It was a small team of them. They just really poured true passion into it, and it bounced them back. Somewhere along that line, they're just like, oh, money. Todd Howard is super inflated, thinking like, I make the greatest games ever. Okay, you used to make great games. You make shit now. And they also used to talk about how the reason why they went and wanted to create Starfield, well, we don't want to be a 2-game studio, Elder Scrolls and Fallout. At some point, I can understand that, but it's like, hey, stick to what you know and what you're good at. Their fall from grace is hard hitting, and for whatever reason, they're just not getting it. He talked about culture changing, work habits, how damn near nothing can get approved unless he goes through Todd first, and that fucker ain't available because he's distracted with the show and interviews and spreading lies. I mean,
Wait,
you can
wait,
go back.
wait.
You could go back to when he was doing the hype train for Fallout 76. And this some bitch was like, yo, 16 times the detail.
Oh
And all this
God.
shit for Fallout 76. And when that fucking game came out, you never heard such an outcry of people like, yo, what the fuck is this?
Right.
They
He
lied
has
on the
become
collector's edition.
a meme generator.
Yes, they lied about the collector's edition. You're supposed to get a canvas bag. They gave motherfuckers nylon. People complained. It was like, yeah, we didn't want to do that. That was going to cost too much. They literally told consumers that. It was
Yeah.
not up until being faced with a lawsuit that they're like, okay, we'll make the bags. And I think it took nearly a year to do it and to send it out to people. You know, they have gone so far off the reservation, and you'll think at first it's just chasing trends or chasing the money, but I really believe Todd Howard's ego is just like, hey motherfucker, I need Skyrim. It's like, okay, but what else? And then they announced, I'm gonna say this again. They announced Elder Scrolls 6 in 2018.
Knowing they wasn't working on it.
Knowing not only were they at the time, they weren't even working on it. And they knew they weren't fucking working on it. And now they're talking about, oh, fans just need to wait, you know, and patience is so long. No, look, are you lying? People are wanting what was promised to them. Even I had said it when that trailer came. I'm like, this is the most vague ass shit. Because I remember the trailer Skyrim. It was a mural that was moving, and you kind of knew what they were setting up, kind of even details. That trailer shit was just a fucking random landmass. You know what the fuck it was? People were like, oh, Hammerfell. It's like, how do you know that? We don't know what Hammerfell looks like. Except from the description of the books. And from the last time I remember, Hammerfell is desert-like. That shit looks jungle and wilderness and mountainous. So what the fuck are you talking about? And you have fans and people making excuses, but to not going along on tangent, as Infamous does. Bethesda is not the same, as our many beloved studios no longer are. Like BioWare. We gotta let it go. BioWare is not BioWare anymore. The people who made the games we love, they are long since gone. And after the recent things and shakeups, hey, ain't no one there anymore from who we know. I believe, and you all can quote me, you can archive this, Bethesda, Elder Scrolls 6 needs to be their Cinderella story, their comeback. But I really feel it's too late. It really is. They are damaging their reputation beyond repair. They fucked up Skyrim with the Creation Club and broke everything with just like, hey, we just want to sell you mods. They recently done that again with fucking Fallout 4. Hey, we just want to sell you mods, which at one point they used to be against until I guess someone told them, hey, yo, we can make money off this. Let them make it. We sell it. They're no longer about creativity. Hell, they constantly keep trying to push this procedural generational shit in their games. And I'm telling you, that Creation Club 2 shit that they did with Starfield, it is being utilized and made. Elder Scrolls 6. They will use that procedural shit to try to springboard, to try to cut down development cost on it in some way to try to get it out the door to appease fans, and it's going to appease no one. And then I'm going to add this real quick before I cut this off. Back to Todd Howard being a liar. This is a motherfucker who said in an interview that you can go find public. It ain't how you launch a game, it's how you finish it. He firmly believes in launching a game in any state and just, hey, fix it. As long as you fix it, they'll keep buying it and they'll wait for it to be fixed. That's his mentality. That's the motherfucker that people have so much hope in, as they quote unquote call him God Howard. Boy, that interview, that Clem, if that's his name, sir, if you're hearing this, hey, we apologize in advance, you know, but he ain't lying. The culture of everything of Bethesda, it ain't there. It's not. And it's no telling how long it ain't been there. Hell, I could throw out dozens more controversy and shit going on with them. But Elder Scrolls 6, I don't care about it anymore. Companies have made strides in the RPG genre. We had people, oh, and I hate to say this, because you know how I feel about this fucking game. But just like how everything is so inspired by Breath of the Wild, every time an open world game of any caliber came out, fully inspired by Skyrim, people, you need to stop doing that. Your favorite game is not necessarily trendsetter. There really aren't any of those anymore. Everyone copies or does something that's been done, and they do it their own way. But best believe, Skyrim wasn't the first open world fucking game, nor was Breath of the Wild. But Real Dev Diary, fuck Todd, fuck Bethesda, and Elder Scrolls, you all should just reinvent the wheel, make a new franchise, and start from scratch. It ain't gonna be shit.
Well, they
And
did
that's
that with
coming from someone.
Starfield.
Oh damn. God damn. Oh man, you ain't lying. Well, I don't know what to say, but that got one line. What did you take from it?
I mean, like we talked about yesterday offline, he said a lot, but I just want to make the emphasis or re-emphasize some points that really drove it home for me. And he talks about in his interview, and I'll link the interview in the description below so you can read it yourself. He says that a lot of that in the beginning, Bethesda was like a basement size office with Todd and a bunch of other developers really locked in and being cohesive of what they was creating, and it ballooned into this 4 studios in 4 different areas, like working on something remotely, and Todd not being associated with the development. And if he is, he comes, makes these certain decisions that later has to be redone because it makes no sense to the storyline, and everything is disjointed. There is no cohesiveness in their game development, and that shows in their games now after Skyrim's success. And it's really unfortunate because he basically says success killed the company and killed its creative process, because people, just because you're good at, developing a certain aspect of a game does not then mean you can be a leader or a supervisor for 12 other developers. That's just not how it works. And it really frustrates me because I was in the military, and the military has this mindset, oh, you follow these certain rules, we can make a leader out of nobody. No, you cannot. You either a leader or you're not. Like, and that's why real leaders don't want to be leaders, because they know it's a bullshit ass job. It's a double-edged sword, and you really, the leader is the mofo that loses at the end of the day. So I just think they assume just because you made some good shit in Skyrim, you would be a decent enough leader as the studio grows, and that is never the fucking case. It never is like that. No, you need a real leader. And honestly, the whole interview, to me, it was just Kurt making it, emphasizing that Todd is not a leader. He's good at making games and making aspects of games and leading a team of developers to, have them be cohesive. But when it's time to lead a company, Todd is not it. And I really I feel like Microsoft bought a dud, and they didn't realize they had bought a dud in a house that was already on fire. And now Xbox is getting heat from it, and they're just like, we didn't do anything. They literally are doing everything that they've been doing before we bought them. We just didn't know they were this fucked up. So it's really unfortunate for Xbox buying a thud, but I do think Todd did lie to this man. I mean, he says it in an interview about he was going to be promised to be the lead design for Elder Scrolls 6, and this is what he said. Of course, after Fallout 4, we didn't go to Elder Scrolls 6. We made Fallout 76. And then even then, we didn't make Elder Scrolls 6. We made Starfield, which became an extremely long project compared to other ones. So from my viewpoint, I've been waiting 11 years to lead Elder Scrolls 6. Now, baby, that shit already tell you. They got into the live service game for NASCO with 76. And still to this day, a lot of people frown at 76 and think 76 ain't shit, because it should have never been made, because that was a time slot that belonged to Elder Scrolls 6 at one point in time. Bethesda wanted a live service game. And so, listen, and we already documented how live service game has really killed the industry and things like that, and it's been a poison, has done nothing good and left a path of destruction since live service game was ever uttered for any upper management's mouth. So, like, this is the shit that Bethesda decided to do, then make Elder Scrolls 6 that everybody's been asking for. And then they made Starfield, which is another insult to injury, because honestly, baby, you could have, that time you spent on that, you could have made Elder Scrolls 6, but then, I mean, at this point, do we even have faith in Bethesda to make a good game now? I mean, and Xbox just seems like they're so hands off. I'm convinced that Bethesda and Microsoft has some type of agreement that keeps Todd's job safe for X amount of years, because this man is not a good leader, and he shows it every time he's in front of the camera and he lies. So I'm convinced they have to have some type of thing written in the contract when they bought them that Todd has to work there and his job is safe for X amount of years. Because baby, my first agenda on my to-do list, if I'm Xbox, to fire Todd, because baby, you no longer know what you're doing, and this company has gone into shits. This is nothing but BioWare, Bungie, shits. It was almost CD Project Red for there for a second. It's like when these companies get success, they have no way to maintain it, because when they built the thing that made them successful, they were small, it was close knit, it was he talks about it in the interview, it was a close family. Now you can't even get Todd on the phone to answer a question about something you're developing, because he's off doing Fallout TV show interviews and shit, and spreading more lies and propaganda, So it's really unfortunate, and I feel for this guy Kurt, because he did get lied to and he got strung along in this madness, and that just proves that the biggest decisions of your life happens when you're not in the room. And so, I mean, I'm glad he finally up and left. He did say he's looking for employment, so maybe he'll get picked up, but his whole interview was basically just talk shit or expose the truth that Todd is not a good leader. He's not a leader of men. And well, let me not say men, but a leader of
Yeah.
people, period. And I'm not trying to be funny, because not everybody's a fucking leader. You cannot then think because somebody did a development job, that he can then lead all these people. Like they have 400 people he has to lead. That is not a normal thing to ask somebody who's making a game in a basement 2 years ago, or whatever year ago. Like, so
And
it's
you
really
know what's funny?
unfortunate. Mhm.
You know what's funny? That made me think when I was rereading this. How you go from such a small scale and pumping out games, and then you get more people, but it takes longer to make the game.
Yes, that's the ultimate conundrum.
That really was hitting me. Like, you guys' success allowed you to hire more people, you got more capital, but yeah, your games are taking longer now with more hands to help make said game. I'm confused. So confused. Studios, in a sense, more people across the board, you could get your projects in and out like that.
Mhm.
Yeah, I didn't mean to cut you off, but when you was bringing on about that, because they did start from small, humble beginnings, and now
Yeah, they got
it's hundreds
400
of them, and
people.
it's like, why can't you all keep anything going?
And it's not just that it's 400 of them. There's 400 of them, and they're spread over 4 different locations. So it's just like, when are we all in the room together? Like, never. And you really don't really know what other people are working on, because they're in a probably different building, different time zone. Like, I can totally see why everything is so disjointed in Bethesda these days, because their setup is disjointed. It's like they have multiple voices telling them this is the path, and Todd is nowhere to be found when a lot of these big decisions are made. So, and then people can say, "Oh, you're too hard on Todd," and no, fuck that. Todd is the leader. He's the face of everything. He goes everywhere telling all these lies. It is Todd. That's why he should be fired, because it's his fault. Listen, he wants all the praise of making the best game in the world that was Skyrim, and the rest of them Oblivion, whatever else good shit that Bethesda made. If he wants all the praise, he needs all the fucking flack too. You can't have one without the other. No, I don't care how conceited you are. You need to be fired. It's your fault. It's your poor leadership. Like, and you making promises to devs is another just shitty thing that this man has done. So no, I think whatever agreement that Xbox and Bethesda has that's protecting Todd's job, whenever that shit is over, first agenda I have on my to-do list if I'm Microsoft is to fire Todd, honestly. And I don't give a fuck about the blowback. Honestly, I don't. Because we have shut down, we have gutted other studios for far less fuck ups than you. And you cannot continue to damage a brand that we spent this much amount of money on. No, we're not going to allow that. We're not going to allow that. We'll take these IPs from you before we allow that. Yes, yeah, yeah. Oh, yeah, I met Skyrim. Oh, you're the old guy that fired and took away because you kept fucking up. Oh, you're that Todd. Yes. But nah, fuck Todd. As long as he has Bethesda, I think it's going to be ran into the fucking ground. I don't think Elder Scrolls 6 is nowhere to be done. A lot of things are pointing to 2030 for possible release dates, and who even knows if that's true? And who even knows when this game finally comes out? Will it be any good? Honestly, and that's kind of where I'm at. At this point, I don't even think Bethesda can push out a good game. And yeah, but yeah, definitely go read the interview. It was very enlightening. It kind of confirmed a lot of things that a lot of gamers had suspected for a while, and it just really reconfirmed that yeah, bro, they have not been working on Elder Scrolls 6, and they've been doing everything else because they wanted one game, live service ish game out on the platform while they developing something else in the background. So really they are a two game studio. And yeah, he touches on that and everything else and a lot of stuff that we already said, but definitely go check it out. But comment down below. I know this was long winded, but comment down below. How do you feel? Do you feel like Bethesda can get back in a good place? But I'm just saying, if we follow history, like Ubisoft and Bungie and BioWare, when these companies go down crashing, they usually end up crashing into the ground. They don't, it's rarely ever do they, pull the stick back and they able to pull the plane back up. I mean, I feel like CG Project Red was kind of going down with Cyberpunk, and then they started to shift the plane back up north, but we still gotta wait and see on The Witcher. But yeah, let us know in the comments down below how you feel, what you think, and we'll see you there.
And that's it for this video of Are You Not Entertained podcast. Thanks for hanging out with us. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, and hit that bell so you'll never miss our next hot take. Until next time, Are You Not Entertained?